All right, guys, welcome to PBJJF Podcast. We are back. Thank you guys for joining us today. And if you're watching this video after live, make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video with everybody. Such a beautiful stories here. We talk and we learn so much from all different professors that come sitting with us. And before we start, just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. And we have a new sponsor on the podcast today. Actually, PBJJF's platinum sponsor. We have Brave Kimonos, as you guys know. Brave Kimonos is the best jiu-jitsu gear out there. You can go to the website and use PBJJF for 10% off. And if you're a school owner, you can go and apply for the wholesale account so we can purchase products, very small orders you can get from your school, and then from there you can resell for your members, and you don't have to have a lot of inventory. We know how hard that is, to keep a lot of inventory, and they have all fast shipping, so it's great to have that access. And also welcome our new sponsor, Santos Law Firm, a high premium immigration lawyer that I think such a great connection with us, because jiu-jitsu, there's a lot of Brazilian coming for the US, and they don't have the right lawyers that knows jiu-jitsu, about jiu-jitsu, how to bring people from jiu-jitsu and their correct visas, and they don't know how to even start the process, like so Flavia Santos, one the owner of Santos Law Firm. She has a bunch of people on her team, and all specialists in each individual type of visa. And this is such a beautiful, great tool to have, because I didn't have
Me
that tool when
neither.
I moved.
Gotta discover by
Nobody there,
myself.
yeah.
It's
You gotta
hard.
and you don't know if you find the right person, that knows about jiu-jitsu and visas,
And in some cases, they're just going to try to take advantage. You don't know if they're honest. You want to find an honest, just like a mechanic, you want to find an honest lawyer.
Yes, that's
Correct.
true.
And she's been doing some visas and some work with us, and it worked pretty well, and it's such a good connection. And I think it's good for the community to have someone that is trustable. And thank you so much for joining the PBJJF crew team. And we hope, if you guys need immigration law service, you can go to the QR code right there, scan, send a message, tell that you heard of the
From
office,
PBJJF.
of the firm through PBJJF. All right.
Thank you,
And
Santos.
thank you. Thank you for joining the team. If you guys want to be a PBJJF sponsor, you can sponsor the event, you can sponsor the podcast, you can sponsor the whole thing. Just reach out to us, send a DM, send a message, or send an email to professionaljujitsu@gmail.com, and our team will get back to you. Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you, sir, for being here with us today. Appreciate your time.
I'm happy to be
And
here.
we're glad to be here. And thank you, Max, to be
Always,
here
my friend.
as
Thank
well.
you. Usa.
You guys have known each other for how long?
5 years.
5 years.
5 years. We are in relationship for 5 years.
Business is like a relationship, right?
Hey, it's a pleasure to have you here today,
you so
Scott.
much.
Scott Salada. Salad.
Salad. Salad.
Yeah, he's a smart one, man.
Salad.
Smart one.
Scott Salad.
That's
So
cool.
tell us a little bit about your story. Like we're chatting a little bit before here. That's kind of we're a little bit off the time, but tell us a little bit of your story, your beginning in the martial arts.
So I would say all throughout high school, I lifted weights because if I'm being honest, like in high school, you don't, to build your personality, I wanted to be a strong guy. But after a while, of course, weight training gets kind of boring. It's not exciting. So when I went to university in 1988, I saw 3 signs. I saw 1 sign for lacrosse, 1 sign for rugby, and 1 sign for judo.
Scott, please pull the mic a little bit
I'm so
closer
sorry,
to you,
so sorry,
please.
yes.
Yeah.
You can pull.
You can fall back, but like move this close to you.
I will try to remember. If I forget, I will probably forget. Just remind me.
Okay.
So I saw the 3 signs: rugby, lacrosse, and judo. I believe rugby is pretty awesome. Like, I don't play it. A lot of my jiu-jitsu friends do play rugby. Do you know anything about that one?
I have a couple of students and friends that they did rugby, and they tell me a little bit. It seems they tell me a little bit that it's safer than football because you don't collapse and impact because you don't have the gear
Yeah.
to think that you're safe.
I believe I can't speak on that because I don't play personally, but
Yeah, I never follow much too.
but I hear there's a similar camaraderie to what we have in jiu-jitsu in the martial arts. You know, like, it's my understanding after the rugby match, and maybe the people out here can confirm, after the rugby match, they all get together, both teams, and drink beer together. So I think that's very
Kind of like
cool.
jiu-jitsu.
Just like jiu-jitsu. You beat the crap out of each other, and then you drink beer together.
That's
Yep.
true.
Actually, Jeff Moore's he came to the podcast as well. He played. He told me about some stories of playing rugby. He's a lawyer. He trained with me at Ogogi.
A couple of I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you can go.
So I know a couple of the black belts under Big Brothers, Levi Sauter and Warren Davis. They both play rugby locally. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's
so it looks like
intense,
fun.
intense
But anyway,
sport, right?
I got off on a tangent.
It's really strong in Australia now.
I think
Yeah.
Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love to watch. Have you guys ever watched the war dance they do before the rugby?
That's
The
nice.
haka?
I
Yeah.
haven't seen the dance, but
Oh man, that puts the hairs on my like they're so intense, man. I watch those all the time. But anyway, so I saw the signs. I chose judo. I've been on the mat since 1988. I'm not anywhere near as good as I should be for being on the mat that long. I should be very, very good.
so
I did judo.
88.
That was a passion of mine, just as much as jiu-jitsu is now. I did judo. I went to Japan for 2 years. I studied judo in Japan. Came back. I'll tell you a funny story from Japan. I got my black belt in judo in the United States. I think back then it took about 6 years. I was studying at the University of Connecticut Judo Club under Dr. Andrew Yanakis. I got my black belt. I went to Japan. After I got to know one of the instructors I was training in his school, he said to me, "Hey, would you like to earn a black belt?" And I was confused, and I said, "I think I have a black belt." And he said, "Would you like to earn a black belt?" So he was basically offering me to start over from white to black the Japanese way. Interestingly, in Japan, the black belt in judo only takes 1 year, about 1 or 2 years. Yeah,
It's quick, you know.
it's very
Yeah.
quick. Yeah,
But very intense.
and they're very good, and that's where it came from.
Yeah.
And they have the best athletes,
Good judo.
Yeah.
athletes.
I think it's the culture, you know. It's like they start very young, you know,
That's right.
and go up. From Brazil, Barbosinha. It's like he's a jiu-jitsu black belt, old school. He starts on judo too, and he traveled to Japan many times too.
Do you know an old school guy named Flavio Canto?
Flavio Canto.
Yeah, I
I
love to watch
Yeah.
him because he has such good transitions between. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu too, right? So
Yeah.
his transition,
right?
Yeah,
He's,
Was
yep. That's a good Japanese word.
He's
he has a good transition to like take downs to
ground,
the
yeah.
to the submissions
He's
and
on the
Alliance. I train with him in
no,
Brazil.
but he's on the Brazilian used to be Brazilian judo team, right?
he
was
competed.
Olympic,
He
in the
he
Olympics.
got a medals from
Yes.
Olympics. You know,
Yes.
he's really good. He got like an institute in Brazil. It's like reação,
yeah.
reação. That
by
like,
his institute is by the Rocinha,
yeah.
the favela.
The favela,
Oh,
but
very
man,
cool.
it's really
It's a
good. They
social
help the
problem.
kids, you know, like teaching judo, giving like a new opportunities on their life. You know what I mean? It's like teach judo. They help with like food, other stuffs too. It's really
And
nice
it's a
the program
great-
he do.
It's such a beautiful facility.
Yeah,
Yes.
Like it's
in the favela.
huge around the favela. It's not
Yeah.
inside,
Yeah.
Yes.
But I went with Leo Leite to train there.
Oh, it's
Leo
very
is very close friend with Flavio, and Flavio trains at Alliance in Rio. And Leo Leite is a jiu-jitsu world champion, He went through the Olympic team as well at judo.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's like max size,
Oh man.
big, and
The only difference, I'm better look than him.
and, I remember training with Leo. I was like, man, throwing like, because the match Rio was small, so he throw you would hit the wall,
Right into the
and
wall.
there was a window. Sometimes would fall over, like you
You gotta catch yourself.
the third floor. Like
Oh man.
it's intense.
When I went to Brazil with my instructor Leo Dalla, we went. One of his affiliate guy. His name is what's his name? He got the Hosina Jiu Jitsu too. Have you heard of Hosina Jiu Jitsu? It's in the favela. Hosina. So one of my friends, his name is Alejandro Carvajal. He's in Dubai right now. His nickname's Baby. I don't know if you know him. And then Dala has one of his teammates has a school at the top of the favela, I believe. I forget his name's Tatu or Tato.
Tattoo.
Maybe
I think I'm saying the name wrong.
from Soul Fighters,
But that's not in
Then he went
that's in
to,
Tijuca.
but maybe he has a project there. No?
Maybe it's a project, yeah.
No, and then
Because,
double five,
double
right?
five, yeah.
Yeah.
The
could
guy
be.
that maybe it's this guy.
Maybe.
Tattoo on Jiu-Jitsu, I just know one. Is this guy. He has
I don't
like
know
a
if I'm
school in
saying his name
Tijuca.
right. I might be saying his name
Yeah.
wrong.
Tattoo. I
Yeah.
think it's the.
And Tattoo is like old school guy from Porrada, like fights on the teams from soccer. And look, that connections is crazy. Like we talk about the judo, we talk about Dubai now. I just has a cousin, black belt too.
Yeah.
And he teach on Dubai, and he's Instituto Reação Judo black belt. He get all his belt white to black on judo from the Instituto Reação. Trained for free all his life there.
Oh, very cool.
On judo, and like parallel on that, he trained jiu-jitsu,
Oh, that's
get
very
his
cool.
jiu-jitsu black belt, and now teach on Abu Dhabi.
Hey,
you know-
if I bring Flavio here one day, would you host a seminar for him? Flavio Canto?
Oh, absolutely.
Because
Yes.
I think would be maybe a host. Would do
For
three,
sure.
something like that. You know,
We would
he
love
comes
to
to
have, yes.
mine. Yours,
Yeah,
and
it'll be a
We-
pleasure, man. Oh my
We have
god.
several schools in our Big Brother affiliate. I'm sure a couple of them would be happy to,
Nice.
including myself. Yeah.
cool. Maybe as a good way of.
Yeah,
Is it such a
get a
good
tour
yeah,
here.
yeah.
It would be awesome. If you,
So he's coming to this area.
No, it's just a thought.
We can
I think
try
would
bring-
be a good way
Absolutely.
to,
He would be. I think he would be very well received.
Yeah.
Especially because a lot of jujitsu guys are not knowledgeable in judo, but they want to learn more.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem with judo, as you know, is it's so difficult to learn because to have a good jujitsu technique, it's easier to do. But judo, you have to have perfect off balancing,
To work.
perfect footwork, and many people get frustrated. That's why I think so few people do. Judo's not as popular in the United States as jujitsu.
And you talk about the angels, right? So like, there's a lot of angels in judo. One's not
yeah.
trained properly, correct?
Yes, same thing in jujitsu, like two white belts, maybe someone's gonna get hurt. But in judo, it's a little more dangerous just because now you've got gravity involved too. So if somebody trips you the wrong way and now you hit the mat the wrong way as well.
I feel like the most endurance happen when you try block the takedowns or catch yourself, post the hands or whatever. That's like when the
There was
You're
a
ready.
famous,
problems
and
coming. Yeah.
a famous Olympian named Yoshida. I don't know if this was in the Olympics or not, but he was being thrown, a Japanese guy, and he put his arm down, and you could see his arm bends in the opposite direction. Oh man, that's very hard to see.
Or- I
Some
tell,
guys do cartwheels over that.
Yeah,
That's true, too.
when we do stand up, most of the time, especially my intermediate classes above, I start stand up. On the fundamentals, way more specific, but on the intermediate open, we start stand up. But I say, guys, sometimes it's better accept the takedown
Yes.
than get hurt. Do you understand?
I'm curious. Do you teach how to fall, break fall?
Yes. But I start on judo too. When I start training, it's like judo and jiu-jitsu, both together. But like more for kids is judo. But I get quick because I'm too big, and like my professor, oh, you can't do this class anymore. You gotta do the adults class, and I get an adults class like so quick.
Just one thing to remind everyone, guys, I forgot to tell you. Now our channel is verified on YouTube. So that means you guys can give us financial support now.
Hey, yeah,
40
go.
podcasts. This is the 40th
that 41.
41.
41.
So now you can send us like a super
super
chat,
chat.
super like hey,
Hey,
we didn't never receive that yet.
Look,
Guys,
you could even get a mug.
you might get a mug. We might create
let's
a
put a
special mug
giveaway.
just to
We can
Some
do
hats.
one.
Do you have any hats?
yeah. We can
This is
get some
special. You
product.
know that, yeah?
Only who
Only
comes
who's
on the
coming
podcast
here
can get that one.
Okay,
Very
got
cool.
that.
Yeah, we'll keep that.
And we'll have one per season. Will be 50 podcasts per season. Next season,
It's another mug.
that
That
different
means
mug.
you need to come back to
I'm happy
get
to
your
come back.
your,
And
your
then you bring your
second mug.
collection.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd be happy to come back without the podcast and just keep talking.
That's great. No, such a
Just, even before you came here, I was having a podcast with you two behind the scenes, man.
that's
And
great.
before we start, we did another
We did
podcast, like
another
40 minutes talking here. For
And did you notice in jiu-jitsu, when everyone says, okay, it's time to go home, okay, they're going to say goodbye. And you see them 10 minutes later talking. And then they say, oh, it's time to leave.
Yeah.
See you guys later. 10 minutes later, they're still
They
talking.
still talk. That's
After
true.
they talk after leave the mat and then close the door, then
They close the
outside,
car.
then close the car.
That's
And
true.
That's right.
We,
But
we
I-
say all the time, hey man, oh see you man, and then
Yeah,
like,
boom.
hey, oh you gotta go man, see you, and then you walk, and then talk, and you go on. and
But
on.
you know
And then
that
sometimes, hey, do you want to go get a quick beer? Just one.
just one. But
That's,
let me tell some, man. That's the best part of the jiu-jitsu.
I enjoy it.
They
I
like
enjoy it.
the talk, that connection, you know. And sometimes a friend just need to talk a little bit
That's
to like
right.
get his mind clean or whatever, you know. Be a good friend. Just listen sometimes to them.
You know, I was listening, I mentioned earlier to one of the podcasts, I think it was Tim Dawson, and he was saying that it's very cool in the jiu-jitsu world that, like, you know, you guys are pretty elite, especially competition, you know. And, you know, you can go and you know, talk to anybody at the competitions. Same thing when I was in Japan, on the way to the competition, the sumo competition, these big 300 and 400 pound guys will be sitting right next to you on the train. Yeah.
the assess, you know, the assess is so easy. You can get the connection.
Yes, they're
Like, look what you're talking about. Hey, you host a seminar for Flavio Canto. Man, that's like crazy
Elite
speaker.
of
He's
the,
like elite,
Olympic.
Olympic, you know,
No,
and
no,
you
he's-
has access on touch on these
He's
guys.
one of the
and-
guys I've actually, you know, studied his technique, just the transitions to the mat work. I really
He
like
has
Flavio
one
Canto.
choke, man.
And the
Like,
Kanto choke, yes.
yeah,
Canto choke,
people
yeah.
like
I got caught with that before. Out of nowhere.
it's legit, man.
It works.
Let me tell something.
No,
It's
no,
legit.
no,
man.
serious, I was training with Vitinho, Gigi's son. First round I go, and then it caught me. I was like, what's going on here? Not even like 10 seconds. Grab the lapel, de la riva, deep de la riva, and
Boom.
and trap your forearms. I wasn't even waiting for that.
Yeah, that's crazy when you get caught and
We don't call them okay.
you don't even know like what happened. What was that technique?
Yeah.
Most of the time, if you get submitted, you're gonna know what happened, like bow and arrow or something. But when you get submitted, you say like, "Well, man, what just happened?"
What happened?
Yeah, no, that's such a
Canto choke.
unexpected technique because you have the far lapel. You're not even a choke yet.
Yeah.
And then
But
it
when
goes-
the leg go over,
Over the top. Have you guys trained stand up with Flavio?
never.
You
I
trained
did
with him?
more. I did more with Leo Leite.
Okay, and you told me he was on the Olympic team as well.
Leo Leite was.
Oh,
yeah.
that's crazy.
He also won. What's the event he was fighting? Legacy. There's an MMA fight. He got a belt. And
Bellator, he fought on Bellator too.
Belt- I don't think he fought Bellator. I think it was Legacy.
No,
Yeah.
Legacy is the champion of Legacy.
And then he fought
he fought
Bellator, yeah.
I think he fought Legacy, Bellator and UFC.
Leo Leite.
Yeah. Dá Sherdog aí, Carlinhos. Bota Léo Leite Sherdog aí, vê quais eventos que ele já lutou, por favor.
I think the last one I remember he was doing because when I did MMA I went to train with he was connected with the Brazilian top team. So his MMA camp was at Brazilian top team, and then I went to train with the guys there.
Murilo Bustamante.
Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu Alliance and MMA at the Brazilian top team, and Toquinho, all the guys are from Brazilian top team. So, but Leo is like well connected with everybody.
Yeah. He's very well known.
Yeah,
he's very popular, and just a name.
Yeah.
Leche. Yep.
So,
But man, that's how.
means two lots.
Não. Qual os eventos que ele lutou?
O último foi
LFA no
LFA.
Brasil. Bellator, viu?
I didn't know Bellator.
Ele-
Legacy too, right?
Legacy.
Fight Tonight, Hero Fight.
But he's the champion from the Legacy before the Legacy and be LFA.
Oh yeah.
The LFA is a
guys-
connection. Né?
Do you ever introduce the man behind the scenes?
Yeah. They know
They know,
that.
they know.
Yes, I just found out he's the one who does all of your media, right?
Yeah.
He puts together great little clips for Instagram.
Cool.
No, that's
great.
Ah,
We're
good
really
job,
trying to,
Carlos.
That's great. No, Carlos and Josie, they do such a great job.
Great job, but
keep
it's not
all-
time for increase your salary yet, okay? This
They already
kid.
came too high. But yeah, I think they're doing a great job. I think.
Let me ask you a
we're in
question.
good direction.
Jiu-jitsu, like, you say Leche was jiu-jitsu. What does it still have a place in? Of course, it has a place in MMA, but is wrestling becoming more important?
Feels a connection, man.
You
You
need to know
need
both.
you
I
I
need
think
the
they style
wrestling
too,
to
jiu-jitsu. The style of jiu-jitsu too,
Yeah.
more like pressure, like MMA. I
Yeah.
think it's jiu-jitsu, but then the different
it's different
approach.
jiu-jitsu.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like self-defense. It's not the same approach of like playing the chill guard. Like I think it's a little bit more
Yes.
intense.
I believe it's a different jiu-jitsu too. I always help Romanov on his camp. He go fight on UFC next weekend, July 1st.
Well, you don't have any black eyes or a broken nose.
No, we do more the grapple part. But like we just should talk about this, man. It's like I can't get there and try play like my deep half guard or like my reverse de la riva, with somebody try punch me in the face. Then I mean, my jiu-jitsu is gonna be different. In Tombado, gotta have more frames, pay attention, punch, cover, and on top you gotta care about he just stand up. He just can't stand up.
Yeah,
You
keep
can
him down. Yeah.
you gotta train a lot of these things, like keeping him down, don't let him stand up. Cut the angles.
Which is what
Then-
makes it so crazy. I think earlier in the UFC, a lot of jiu-jitsu guys were hitting submissions because people weren't as knowledgeable. But now everybody who's in the UFC or any MMA fighting, they know enough jiu-jitsu not to get caught. And a lot of black belts still fighting. So when you get a guy like, I think his name is Oliveira,
Yeah.
Charles Oliveira.
yeah, who's
The Bronx, yeah.
submitting so many people. That's crazy.
He is the guy who has most submission UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
good. That's crazy.
These
Before
guys
him
are-
was
And
Damian
and
Maia.
look at
defense.
that. And look at that. He never be a world champion, a black belt or whatever. He started his career on MMA too young, too early,
Yeah.
and he'd
I
be
think
like,
he
good
competed a
after.
brown belt. I
Yeah.
remember I think seeing him a brown belt and.
But on the black belt, not that much.
But he may be better fighter than jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
No,
He brings his jiu-jitsu. He connects. I feel he's connects his jiu-jitsu very well with MMA.
on MMA.
Like maybe like if someone's a very high level jiu-jitsu guy, he cannot defeat in a jiu-jitsu competition.
That's right.
But
But
in MMA,
that's
And-
the point I was making. Yeah.
Then the crazy, he's 13 years away on UFC, man. 13 years on the same company. Like, you can see how he improved on this time, It's crazy. And like, talk about like the Westland and Jiu-Jitsu, I feel we need both today to be MMA
I think you're
fighter.
correct, yeah.
You can't like fight like the Jiu-Jitsu guys back in the day. Works a lot, man, but it's different today, put your head back, do like the front kicks, and try shoot the double leg behind
the
that.
trumpet.
Yeah, that's not gonna work anymore.
Because it's no more it's no more jiu-jitsu against karate,
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu
That's right.
against judo, jiu-jitsu against Muay
Box,
Thai.
whatever.
Now is like I feel like now is I think that's why the Grace family stepped out because now is
Mixed martial arts. It makes
mixed
everybody do
mixed
everything.
and time.
It's my understanding
Right.
that, and I could be wrong, but that a lot of the Gracies believed that practicing just jujitsu should be enough for you to win MMA matches nowadays.
But like we see a couple Grace still fight. We got a one on Bellator.
But are they just training jujitsu?
Now they train box. I saw that.
That's my point. I think I'd heard some very elite jujitsu guys believe that only jujitsu should be enough to win.
On MMA, they crazy.
I agree.
Sorry, but they crazy.
100%.
Today is impossible. I fought MMA now. He fight back in the day, but I fight now. I have three fights on the last 2 years.
Oh man, that's very cool.
That's like if you don't train the other things, you go be behind, man. You can some fights you go get there and you're just gonna do jiu-jitsu, but you need to train
But
all
I
the other
think all your
things.
fights you would win just doing jiu-jitsu. The fights you have previous.
Yeah, but if I don't have like the minimal understand about my hands, my head movement, my box to get close and get out. Do you understand? These understand is really important. Do you know? It's like when you get in a cage, you feel like you don't know how to stand face to heel, go with your jiu-jitsu stance, you're gonna be one
But
step
think about
behind.
it. Are not we being negligent of not practicing because jiu-jitsu has a little bit of understanding of distance management and striking management.
You're correct. Traditional.
So are we taking that away from jiu-jitsu and being negligent of not doing it? You know, because
On these days, like on jiu-jitsu, you don't train it that much like this. Do you know what I mean?
I believe it's not as good. What traditional striking jujitsu and management is not as good as some other striking martial arts that you could put your time into. You know, jujitsu does have a lot of the self-defense part of it. But I would, instead of looking at that, I might spend time, doing Muay Thai or traditional boxing. I think your time is better spent for striking with these martial arts.
Yeah.
Instead
if
of
you want to be the elite of the sport.
yeah,
Like
but-
on the
but
long
he-
run, like
The average guys, like you can maybe in UFC you might have to be like, man, I need to. Like,
yeah.
But average.
But
guy, I
like
think
if
can
you
take
if
care
you
about
keep a
every
fight to
jiu-jitsu.
how you not gonna train it now? You gotta train from the beginning.
Yeah.
You go wait to get there.
But I think what happens, what I see happening, the jiu-jitsu guys spend 10, 20 years in jiu-jitsu, and they try to fight strike in MMA.
You're correct. And you know what they do every time? They start to get pretty good with their hands. They start to get good, and they get the false idea that they
Like,
can
I'm good
stand
at
up.
that.
Yeah.
They can stand up with somebody who's been doing striking their entire
20
life.
years.
They should be smart. They're trying to get a knockout when really, I
They
think
gotta
even
do jiu-jitsu.
even the judo woman, she was very, very popular. What was her name?
Ronda Rousey.
Ronda
Ronda
Rousey.
Rousey. She thought she could stand up with I think it was-
Amanda.
Cyborg.
Yeah.
Amanda
Cyborg.
Nunes.
Oh, she
Amanda
didn't fight
Nunes.
Cyborg.
And Kate, was it Katie Holmes?
Oh,
maybe?
Holmes,
yeah,
Holmes.
Holmes, yeah. She thought she could stand up, and for a little while she was, but then she got tagged.
Yeah.
If she had just done judo at that point, she would have won that match.
Yeah.
For grappling.
That's true.
But I feel that's pressure from audience.
Yes.
The audience like, oh, I don't know jiu-jitsu. I need to like see something. Like, where you guys hugging each other on the ground?
Yeah, that's
But
true. The
when you
audience
don't know-
like knockouts.
Because
But I
they
believe
boom, boom.
yeah, you're right. And then they don't. If they don't want to see you fight, you're not going to draw a lot of attention. But man, be versed in both, so you can finish at least with a submission if you can't knock them out.
Hey, Khabib is a good example of that.
Man, Khabib is one man in a million.
No, but it's.
I don't know if he is, man. A lot of these guys coming from Dagestan are doing very well.
But
in
like
MMA.
like he did it. Not it's not like he did it.
Maybe no, you're correct. He's special.
He's
special,
very
yeah.
special, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god. You saw like he fights, he just walk forward, get like some boom, 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 cover, take down, and done.
And nobody can stop him.
Nobody can stop him
Nobody can
anymore.
stop him,
He's
yeah.
little different.
And he came with sambo background
Sambo, yeah.
Sambo.
and wrestling. Maybe I think Daggestan's known for wrestling too, right?
But they have a look. I remember training some guys from like that area, Kazakhstan, like a lot of judo guys from there, tough guys.
Yeah.
Man, the guys are tough. So, train like a blue belt. I remember a lot of guys from Kazakhstan
Yeah.
would come to Rio to train. It's like a blue belt. So, man, you're tough. It's like, no, I'm a judo black belt.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, but you're tough, man.
I'll tell you a funny story. When I was in Japan, and I went one time to the Kodokan to train, and we went to an open mat, and at the time I only knew judo. And some Brazilian guys came up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to do like mat work?" I didn't. I said, "Sure, why not?" And these guys, they weren't wearing black, or maybe they were, but they were just killing me. And they wasn't. Come to find out, they were like, Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belts.
It's,
Well,
But
I didn't know
one
before I
question:
rolled with them.
you back for white belt on Japan or no?
Yes, I started over, yeah.
You start over?
Yeah, and here's another funny story. So I was a black belt even when I went to Japan, right? But he had me start over, my instructor. Then he had me compete at a competition. Now, most of the white belts in Japan, they're like high school students still, So at this competition, I was competing against all these high school students. They kicked the shit out of me. They were so good, even though
And
I'm a
young,
black belt.
no?
Yeah, and young, yeah.
so, and then you spend 1 year in Japan,
2 years.
2 years,
Yeah.
to get your black belt.
Yeah, I got my black belt in Japan, but that wasn't my goal. I was just to study judo, like I had already studied, I think, for 6 years. At that time,
Arigato. Sayonara.
look at you, 3 languages. Huh?
I know. I play.
And then he starts to count
I
like
play-
Ichi, Nissan, Shuko.
I play with the kids. They're like, no, I speak Japanese. Arigato, sayonara, man. They're like, Professor, you speak Japanese? Like, yeah. Germany? Harsha. You speak German too? It's like, of course. And then they go home and tell their parents, Professor JP knows so many languages. Like, now I know. I know 3 words for each language. Then I pretend to the kids that I.
Well, I think I mentioned I'm a high school teacher, and one of the reasons I teach is just so I have somebody to make jokes about all day. I joke my students all
All
day.
day.
No, you
Yeah.
told me some stories. What is the funniest story you have from like playing around with the group?
Well, I have so many stories. I don't know which one the funniest is, but like, even I was telling you before we came on. So at my instructor's school, Master Dalla, sometimes when the new white belts would come on the mat, I think I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Like I would tell them, when you first start jiu-jitsu, you have to wear your white belt way up here. So they would be running around and doing all the warm-ups, and Dalla would say, "Man, why is everybody wearing belts?"
And then you progress. You
Got it.
Yeah, that's what I told them. Yeah.
That's fine.
You tell me
My
another
high
one.
school students, like in the state of Virginia, you have to pass this state test called SOL. Okay, everyone needs to pass this like math SOL. So I'm just a mean person. I teach. When we get the results, I take each kid out of the classroom and I say to them, "Man, don't worry. Like they're gonna offer opportunity to retake this test in 2 weeks. We can study really hard. I'm sure I can get you to pass this test." And the person will say, "Oh, I have to take it over." "Oh, no, you passed."
You just make them.
Man, one or 2 times I would play this joke and like the kid would start
They
to
cry.
cry. Yeah. "Oh no, it's just a joke. I feel terrible."
I think
Not
it is
that
a-
terrible.
You're
Not
building their way of dealing with the potential stress, right?
No, you're giving me too much credit. You're giving me too much credit. I'm just having
But,
fun, yes.
no.
By the way, I do have to apologize. I think sometimes when I'm speaking with people who speak Portuguese or Brazilians, I start to speak a little bit the same way. So I have to apologize to like anyone listening.
Yeah, you're around the Brazilians for many years, right?
Well, yeah, I'm around Leo Dalla for 15 years. I still he's still my instructor. So yeah, I still see.
That's-
I don't see him as much as. That's a very. That's one of the biggest sadnesses of my opening up my own jujitsu schools. I get so little time to visit my old school and my. I'm very close to everybody down there. That was my first family. I was with them about 15 years. I don't get chance. So shout out to everybody at Leo Dalla. Leo Dalla and all the students.
Shout out for
Shout out for
Leo Dalla
Leo.
and-
We hope to see Professor
Bring
Leo
Leo
Dalla
Dalla
here
here,
as
yeah.
well. Would be great to be able to chat with him, and I think
He has some very old school stories that he could share. Like he was around. He's a real, like you said earlier, a pioneer of jiu-jitsu in this area. And in Brazil, he tells. I don't know if this is a common story or not, and maybe you heard already, but like one of his students, he came up under George Pereira. How do you say in Portuguese?
Jorge Pereira.
Pereira.
Yeah, that was,
Macaco? No? Jorge Pereira Macaco? No?
No. He's the one. He started Rio Heroes, I believe, and he was doing the cage fights in Brazil.
Maybe Jorge Pereira Macaco.
No, I
But
don't
you
think
know.
so.
No. I'll show you a picture of him. But so Dalla came up. This guy's one of Hickson black belt.
Mm.
So Dalla one time his he was a purple belt, I believe, at the time, and somebody from another school had picked on one of the new students at his school. So Professor Paradas, they went and knocked that. They contacted the people from the other school and said, man, they're gonna fight. And instead, because he was a new white belt, they said, why don't you go and fight Leo Dalla, and you can fight up against this brown belt. He was a purple belt. You'll fight this brown belt. And they went to, I believe, my memory's bad these days, but they went to, I think it was Henzo's house. And they went in the house and they fought.
Oh, they had a house just to fight.
Yeah, they had
I've
a
seen
house.
some videos of that.
They fought for over an hour.
It's like almost like a kind of farmhouse. They would go like.
I've just seen the inside. There's a video floating out
Yeah,
there
yeah,
somewhere. Dalla, after 1 hour, they're still fighting.
That sometimes they would fight in the backyard, sometimes inside the house.
Inside, yeah. I saw some videos like that too.
Yeah.
Crazy. No, the back in the day, they're like.
Hey, but that's
Different
building
world.
the jiu-jitsu, man.
Yeah.
They needed to do this back in the day.
That was part of the way of prove that jiu-jitsu was their way to
Well,
go.
these were both jiu-jitsu schools too. I think what you're talking about is like a dojo storming. You know how like
But they would have in that house too.
oh, is that right?
Everything in that house.
Oh, very
But like
cool.
this between the schools, I think help building the jiu-jitsu too. That like
The teams.
I'm
The
do you
proud,
hear,
to
do you
be
hear
proud.
that word before creonte? Back in the day, they have like, man, if you Gracie Barra, I'm Carson Grace, and he Alliance, we can't be friends. It's impossible.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if you like a high level competitor or like if you're white belt in the gym. If I'm Carson Grace, I don't talk to Gracie Barra, don't talk to Alliance. Maybe if you see each other in the street, you're gonna fight.
Oh, it's almost like gangs, right?
Yeah,
There
back
was
in the
a-
days like
everything.
this.
Yeah.
But like good. It's changed, you know.
Do you see that style here in the United States?
No.
No.
Here, I look back. I was talking to my professor Thiago. Looking back, I was like, here, I think the community is very supportive. Like,
I believe so, yeah.
hey, there's students for everyone. We don't have to fight over. Like, I look at the area, it's like 1 million people here. 5 jiu-jitsu schools. We cannot even touch 0.001%.
We are in a really good time to have jiu-jitsu academies. I believe jiu-jitsu is at the peak of its popularity for good reason. I think Brazilian jiu-jitsu offers so much, and that's why it's becoming popular. Guys like Joe Rogan and Jocko.
Jocko,
They bring
yeah.
a lot of people.
Joe Rogan, Jaco, we want
We
you
want you
here.
here. Maybe one day you're gonna see us at Joe Rogan podcast
I hope so,
or
man.
Jacko podcast,
Yeah.
or they're gonna be here.
That would be great.
That's part of the mission.
Let's keep
'Cause they're-
alternating.
Because they're, like you're saying, they're, sorry for cutting you, but they're big platform for jiu-jitsu.
They are huge, I believe. I can't put a percentage, but a large group of people, when I say to them, I always ask somebody when they come in the door, so why do you want to start doing jiu-jitsu? A lot of them will say, like, I've heard so much from Joe Rogan,
Joe Rogan.
Joe Hogan,
Joe Hogan
Hogan.
and
Like,
Jocko too,
Jocko,
right?
yeah.
Well, I get a student one day and he's like, no, Joe Rogan told me I need to start doing jiu-jitsu. I'm like, okay, thanks.
He sends people to like all of our
Yeah.
schools. Like it's crazy how many people he influenced in a
Because
positive way.
so here's something interesting about jiu-jitsu, I believe. I think there's something unexplainable but beautiful about jiu-jitsu, right? That keeps people, it's more than just another sport, I believe. It's sometimes I've heard it described as magic, and I can't really put my finger on it. But I know one of my students, he had heard about jiu-jitsu and he started doing it, and he said, for the first 4 months, he said, man, jiu-jitsu is pretty cool, but I don't know about all this, magic. And then he said that, like, when I was doing it for 4 months, he's like, oh, now I'm starting to understand it. There is something interesting. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if you can put your finger on it. What is so special about jiu-jitsu?
I think it's a whole combination. That because like you have so many things that benefits the human in one place.
That's right.
Like and you can do at any age.
Yeah.
Majority of the time after 30 years old, you don't see any sport where people can still play in a even competitive way.
Especially a combative sport.
Combat sport,
That's right,
yeah.
yeah.
Like and it's safe, most of the time safe.
And do you find that, like, whenever it gives you lessons on life without even asking it, I'm not looking for it.
My morning class today, I only have one student younger than 40 years old.
That's great.
All the other students older than 40.
Yeah.
That's like, I see that today on the mats, and I'm like, man, that's the way it should be. Because like 10 years ago, it was impossible. These guys practice jiu-jitsu, train jiu-jitsu,
I'm 55. I'm old.
Man, it's two acts,
On
man.
the mats.
Yeah, I love it. But I was saying a little bit ago, like, it's happened to you guys. When you feel like, oh, I'm really good at jiu-jitsu, I'm great. And then you go to practice, you get the shit kicked out of you, right? And or one time you're like, man, I suck at this. Why do I keep doing? I should be so much better. And then you go have a great class.
Yeah.
So
Ups and downs.
Ups and
that's
downs.
right. Yep.
I think
But
we all
all
feel
the
like that.
benefits, like JP say, on a semi room, makes people come back, and the community. We talk about this before too.
Yeah.
It's like,
And we could go on and on of the benefits, right? Tell me one benefit. Let's try to go on and on.
Yeah.
One
right,
benefit.
community.
Along with community, you're seeing people you would never normally interact with. There's a little, somebody sent me a meme recently that said, where else in the world can you go and see a construction worker and a doctor and a lawyer and then
Religions, different
and then
religions.
a 15-year-old kid who's failing algebra submitting them all?
That's right.
That's true.
And earning their respect. And earning their respect. Hey, teach me this.
Show them that, please. Yeah.
I mentioned I'm a teacher, a high school teacher, Centerville High School. Shout out to Centerville High School.
Wow.
you
And,
guys have the best teacher there.
Yeah, he's pretty good. It's not me,
Yeah.
but they have a very good teacher.
It's not the salada. I think it's the salada.
Hey, listen. So I do have several of my students now starting jujitsu, and I heard somebody again. It might have been the Tim Dawson. I heard him say, and I see this all the time. Kids walk in, high school kids, looking down at their shoes and having no confidence.
No confidence.
And after 2 or 3 classes, I'll actually say to them, like, man, come here, stand up straight. Like, put your
Wash
chest
that
out.
up. Look
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah, put your head out. And they start doing that, and then they start to get more confidence from doing the jiu-jitsu. It's a life changer.
Yeah,
It is.
that's true.
I feel self-defense is another benefit. Another one.
My health. Mind health.
Mind health, yes.
Mind health.
Yes. How about physical health?
Physical health.
I think that's bullshit because I've been injured. Look at that finger, man.
Yeah.
I have a lot of injuries, man.
I tell my sons, hey, guys, if you wanna go to heaven, you have to go through hell.
Yes.
Go through hell, and then you go to
I
heaven.
like it, yeah.
Like life is like that. You gotta go through hell, and then you find the heaven. But if you only think you're gonna get through heaven by doing nothing,
Yeah. But I feel that's dangerous part of the game, man.
Yeah.
And like more when you real
No
Yeah.
doubt. Like the more you can.
Sometimes some on the beginner, if you get a good guide, if your instructor
That's
take
correct.
care about you, take care about the program, everything can happen. But
How do you teach your students? Because I believe this is a big task of a white belt and sometimes blue belts too. How do you teach them not to use their muscle, not to use their aggression, but to relax? How do you guys go about teaching that?
I don't allow them to roll until the minimum 3 stripes, so they're not allowed to use that. And when they are allowed to do some type of training, we allow at Ogogo we allowed only specific trains for small, very specific position, mount escapes and mount
By the way, she had mentioned the name of your school. Is this a
Ogogo.
Japanese word?
Is a Spartan training. So it's the methodology of the Spartans to bring to build their armor. So
very
for
cool.
you to become a Spartan citizen, you had to go through the Ogogi training.
Oh, I like that. That's a
So
good
we-
name for a school, man.
Yeah, and it
Very
would
good.
build all of the it would develop that kid to become a
I really
warrior.
like that. Yeah. What's the name of your school, sir?
culture of jiu-jitsu.
Oh, this is it right now.
Yeah.
I will say that I'm a little spoiled, and a lot of people are gonna probably be upset with me saying this, but like I came up under Leodala, who's Brazilian, and I think Brazilians to come up under a Brazilian instructor does bring an extra benefit because you're learning the culture of jiu-jitsu, and part of that is the relaxed way
Yeah.
of rolling. Now I don't always do this, but I should aspire to do
But
it.
you have the Brazilian feel,
Yeah,
There's something to
because
that, yeah.
you're 15 years already around your instructor.
Yeah, yeah.
You're half Brazilian.
yeah. Do you have an Havaiana? Havaianas, flip flop.
Oh, of course.
The Brazilian flip-flop.
You're half Brazilian already.
No, I don't have the Brazilian ones.
You should have one. The
No, man.
Havaianas.
You have Havaianas, you don't have one?
I don't need Havaianas.
Ah.
I'm not like one of these purple belt young kids who has to get everyththing Brazilian to show how
Look,
and at the end of every sentence,
I
I
would-
say
well,
awesome.
I'll give you a Havaiana as a gift. So I'll when next time I go to Brazil, bring you a Havaiana.
Obrigado.
Hey, it's the best.
I don't think they are, man, because they're flat. They don't give you any support.
No, you don't need that support.
Even
You
construction
gotta
work
jiu-jitsu.
with the wear
Yeah,
them,
to wear them.
You don't think that's safety? Come
That's
on.
super
so
safe.
so much support.
Yeah, let's look at some data on how many of them get their toes chopped
Hey,
off.
but Havaiana is the best beach flip flop because they dry so fast, man.
Okay, man, I'm
Go there,
convinced.
boom.
I'm
You
convinced.
come, no, for real. That
And then
they
I'll
don't
bring-
sponsor us, okay? They don't.
And if you wear one, and then I'm gonna bring the half of the certification for a Brazilian
Citizenship.
then I can sign it. But you gotta wear it.
Okay. So now I'm getting sponsored.
No, but that's
Like about the safely, I do this a lot. Look, you guys will try to get on that position. You try, example, this week you're working over on the pass, okay? I will try to block you to don't get an over on the pass, and we'll try to get an over on the pass. 30%. Or sometimes I say like 28%. To the real thing is like
32%.
Man, don't go crazy. You
Yeah, so
understand?
sometimes I will say 25%, but for you, you just 10%. The guy who
That's
goes
true,
really
you gotta-
hard.
I,
you gotta
I
know.
think that's help a lot, and I keep around. When I see I'm like, I think this is like more than 28%. Okay,
It's definitely 29.
yeah.
And guys, don't forget, guys. I want to see this first super chat. Please don't give us super chat for us. Super chat or super sticker.
What is a super chat? I don't know
Super
what that-
chats when they can donate to the channel and support the channel and support you.
Well, tell
support
them what
us.
tell them what they're supporting.
They're supporting all the podcasts investment that we have here, right, to bring out the professors and more on and on. We can start to bring people from different states, like we can from this support we might be able to bring Hickson Grace. Say Hickson, we're gonna pay your
You were mentoring
airfare,
Flavio Canto earlier.
Conte, we can pay for this. Like the channel will be able to support the whole, because I think it's an investment for us, right? We invest in such the equipment as you see right here, but like we want to we want to make this channel more sustainable for to reinvest into the channel, not have to use all the resource to support the channel, and one day bringing people from all over the
So you
world
want
to
to make
come here.
this a hub of jujitsu with a podcast and bring in big names, and hopefully they could do seminars.
Correct.
Oh, very cool.
Seminars, and like we have the tournament, like we're bringing the athletes, and
Hey.
maybe when they're here to compete they come into the podcast.
Talk about the tournament this weekend. We have our first Pan American Championship, and today's the last day.
Today's the last day
Today's
to
the
register.
last day to
This
register.
is the largest
How do I
event
say,
in the DMV area.
I apologize. How do I say congratulations in Portuguese?
Parabéns.
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 Oh, I should know that one. Parabéns.
It's a
And
good
like,
one.
if you don't did your registration yet, go on the website right now and register yourself in the tournament. We have a lot of signups this event. Over 700 signups. It's like a pleasure to us to host that event on this area. You know what I mean? Think we going to a great event, nice event, and also to bring more jiu-jitsu to the art.
I could say a couple nice things about we bring our school pretty regularly to the PBJJF competitions, and a couple things we really like bringing them is you guys, you don't have any 11 o'clock final matches, any 10 o'clock. You guys are ending early. I really like that. My students like that, of course, and then we like the fact that they get more than one match. Some competitions, it's one and done.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a student's first time competing, they're spending, $100. Yes. So I really like you getting at least minimum 2 matches.
Yeah,
Right?
that
That's
we
right.
we are double
And if they do
elimination.
2 divisions, 4
It's minimum
for
four.
that day,
Yeah.
If they do gi and no gi, 4.
So those are 2 huge things that people complain about. Getting home too late and
Single
And
elimination.
so, Professor, another thing that we really care about is safety, because we want to take care of all the professor students the same way they take care of their students. Like if you send our students to compete at PBJF, we want to make sure they come back safe to your training. It's not like, because like even for Pan Ams, people reach out, hey, I just competed this weekend and I hurt myself. Man, you're hurting that school. You're hurting the other tournaments that like this guy's not competing here anymore because he just got hurt from a tournament. Like it can happen, but we try to minimize the negligence. We try to
that's
take
a
the
good thing.
negligence away to keep jiu-jitsu to grow. We want to use this as a platform to advertise jiu-jitsu. If one of your students come to PBJJF, come to Pan Ams, and they bring 2 friends to watch, never done jiu-jitsu in their lives, they come and watch, like, oh, so cool, man. Even if you lose or win, doesn't matter. You have a beautiful, great experience. They see the benefits of jiu-jitsu in your life. They're like, I need to do this. Like you bring 3 new people to jiu-jitsu. If you mostly for your school, but if you're not for your school, we'll bring
It's
them
for
back to
jiu-jitsu.
jiu-jitsu.
We talk all the time. We are a jiu-jitsu missionary.
We
one
are,
day,
we are.
one day we go wake up and I'll be on your door with like a jiu-jitsu book. Like, hey, you wanna hear about jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-Jitsu Bible, yeah.
This
Although,
is survival.
I do. Probably you guys learned this a long time ago. When I first started doing judo, and then same thing with jujitsu, I felt like I found something special. So I said to all my friends, "Hey, man, you need to try this. It's so good, so cool." And I bother all my friends. The ones. So I came to understand later in life that those people who are interested, because they say all the time, "Yeah, man, I'm going to check it out." And they never do. That's okay. But the ones you don't have to advertise to your friends, because who's interested will come and say, "Hey, man, do you mind if I try a class?" Right?
True.
Yeah.
I think that
Quick
happened
couple
with
couple of
time.
your friends stick with jiu-jitsu or not much.
Well, most of my friends do jujitsu anyway, just because you become friends with the people.
Yeah.
You
No,
you train with.
but the outside, like the
Yes.
Sometimes trying to find friends outside of
yeah.
jiu-jitsu.
I don't have much. I don't have much.
You spend so much time on the mat, right? Yeah. So no, I have a lot of because I have a lot of teachers from my other job too. I mean, a lot of friends from my other job too as a teacher. So
Okay, I have a question about that. How is this to deal? Because like I don't feel like the new generation, all the new stuff going on. I don't even I have no idea about that because I'm into the jiu-jitsu bubble since I moved to the US. How
About
is
20 years.
that? Because you're seeing daily, right? I don't know how, like, how is that world of like? There's a lot of going on, like a different world, right? Like I don't really know much
It's
about it.
different. So I've been teaching maybe 25, 30 years now. Students, not jujitsu. And it's a very different world from when I started to now. Like, I'm not saying good or bad. I mean, I don't want to get involved in any kind of political, but like on any given day, a student may be coming in with one man boy name, and then ask, please in the future call me this other feminine name. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not trying to say that's bad. I don't want to get canceled.
Yeah.
We have a lot of opportunity to get
Yeah.
canceled. We'll be at some point.
Every,
Don't worry.
every podcast, me and JP get like really close to the line.
Love you, love you.
Like, oops.
We could turn off the camera and I'm happy to share my thoughts with
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
But right now, and you have to wade through that very, very carefully. Like these days, everyone is very sensitive and they're trying to push their own agenda, right? Their own what?
But I have a question. Is that only for?
Be careful.
No. I mean, like I try to look about that. Is people from kids from Provery doing the same thing?
From poverty?
Provery, yes. Are they have the same? Is that a?
In some ways,
Have you thought about
and-
that?
Yeah, no, it happens in every
In
social.
all around the-
Yes. Here's why I think we're seeing what we're seeing now. I believe, and I hope I don't jump up. I don't want anyone to cancel.
No.
But I believe every generation, teenagers are supposed to be rebelling. It's very natural. It's very they're supposed to. They're supposed to be arguing with their parents at a teenage year. Not that it's good or bad. It's just what's supposed to be happening. That's the task at that time. So way long time ago, maybe the way they would rebel is getting a earring, right? And then maybe they're rebelling and getting a tattoo. And then through the years, smoking a cigarette. Then more recently, smoking marijuana.
And my time was for girls. No, was rebelling. It was
girl-
like, man, I gotta for girls. Like
girls
to
were rebelling?
no. The guys want to get stuff to look cool for the girls.
Yes.
It was not
Yeah.
much for the parents.
But
No,
also-
but then he said like on the time
Yeah,
back
yeah.
in the day, like
Yeah.
red.
No. The guys are always trying to look cool and get the girls, of course.
Yeah.
But like anybody who's experimenting or trying to, be a rebel or go against society, at the time they would get a tattoo. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
wear an earring. And I just think, again, I'm not judging this. It's not good or bad, but the particular path that is kind of rebel. The way they're rebelling now is by exploring their sexuality. Again, I'm not saying good or bad. I just
Nowadays,
think
that's nowadays.
That's the same as the tattoos way back in the day, or the earrings back in the day.
yeah.
And every generation, the older generation has trouble with it. Like why they get that tattoo that looks so
yeah.
stupid? Why are they wearing an earring? Why are they smoking weed or cigarettes when they know it's bad for
And
them?
later,
So I just think that's the current path that some students take to rebel.
I got
Not
it.
all of them.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Do you feel there is a lot of influence from like media and can be a lot of influence by
Man,
The
we're
internet.
walking very dangerous.
no it's like I think about that sometimes, like how much is maybe the kids not even feeling that, but they see someone they really like. It's like, oh, I think I'm that too.
Well,
I don't know.
think
I don't know.
there's
It's a question. I don't know
I
the answer.
I personally feel the internet help a lot. Man,
it helps to create this
to
situation.
yeah, because like it's new and like now the communicate it's too easy to get like information today. They get on the phone, Instagram, blah blah blah, and sometimes the kid never talk about that. They don't know, or if they never imagine
Yes.
they can born
if
a
they-
man and
Yes.
ask to be called
What
by
they
If
want.
somebody
a
lived
woman
way
or
out-
what.
If
And
somebody lived in the country, for example, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead, finish your thought. That's rude of me. Go ahead.
sorry. And then like when they saw all the time that on the face, maybe like a 10 years old kid, on the internet, like well, that's possible. I want to be called like shit. Do you know what I mean? And by the influence a little bit, do you understand? I don't know.
I think that
Maybe
helps
I'm
to
wrong,
create-
like you,
no,
like you.
I think that helps to create that avenue, because if somebody was living way out in a, especially before the social media, they were living out in the country, they would never have been exposed to that particular path. So maybe they would still take the only path they knew, which was, maybe an earring or smoking marijuana or smoking cigarettes. Do you know what I mean? I think, but anyway, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're influenced all the time. We've been influenced forever.
Is a hard place to touch.
It's unfortunate that we can't have this conversation,
Yeah,
but I
but
suspect.
like,
But I suspect some people are going to be angry for just the things I said. I hope not. I have no
I hope not,
negative
but
It's just
intentions.
I have, man.
I don't think it's for everybody. I mean, like for some people that might not even feel that way, they start feeling because of influence.
I just need to.
I-
I just need to
you
get
know,
that.
I think
Do jujitsu. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
let's
jujitsu.
go back to
Good,
this.
yes. But
I have
like
I have a
how can we
student before.
influence?
I
How
have a
can we
student
influence?
before they asked me to be called like one like, hey, please come like her, blah blah blah.
And did you do?
I did.
I happened to me too.
On the beginning it's hard, especially by the language too. Then I'm like that's like 2 years ago, and on the beginning past like 2-3 months to I understand, but I keep reminding myself then. But he acted really really nice. He told me one time, and every time I forget or whatever, he's fine with that. He never.
Let me ask you this: Did any of the other students not know and come to find out when they rolled with him?
Everybody acted normal.
Perfect.
Nobody like complain. But I don't know. I try get natural. I'm like, man, that's why he want to be called. I'll call him like that. You know what I mean? When like sometimes we have a lot of girls on the class, and they're like, okay, all the women on the central, we go get your pictures today. We want to promote the women on the mat.
100%, yeah.
He her getting a mat on the picture. We take a picture. That's how.
But you have to understand, probably, if your student, some students maybe don't agree with this.
Yeah.
And if they're rolling with this girl and suddenly they maybe feel something, that could be confusing for the student. I'm bringing a scenario. I'm not saying I don't know the right thing to do in this case.
No. I don't know. I just discover that like people understand, and I feel like. But if somebody tell me like, man, I don't know if I want to roll with her, and I just go match up or avoid. You understand?
Yeah,
Like
good
we
choice.
do sometimes. Like, man, some little girls don't want to train with a big guy or whatever. I'm not gonna make this guy uncomfortable. I just avoid. When like I see they come close, I'm like, hey man, sorry, like go with here. I think it's gonna be a better round, and you go over here. You know what I mean? Like that's or
And
my way to work on that.
What's your mindset on partnering up? Like make sure everybody's safe in your training. How is your mindset on that? When you're teaching a class, like how do you think about? Do you allow like hey guys, everybody go with each other, or like you try to get everybody on the same similar size?
Oftentimes we allow them to choose their own partners. Sometimes we're very aware if I see like two very new guys partnering up, I will say, why don't you trade spots with this more experienced students? Or if I see somebody who's known to be a little bit aggressive with somebody less aggressive, I'll try to do it in a way nobody's feelings are hurt. I will say, hey, can you come over here? This person's smaller, even though the reality is this person uses too much muscle or whatever. But you mentioned one thing earlier about the woman on the mat, and I want to come back to that because this is a big kind of goal of mine. We have several women training on the mat right now. And shout out to them because it is right now, it's changing slowly, but it's a male-dominated martial arts sport. And if we agree that it offers so much, Jocko has a famous quote that says it's the number one activity I can recommend to improve your life. So that shouldn't be contained to just 50% of the population. So I really, really try to bring women to our school.
Me too.
We often do these intro woman classes.
That's
And it's
good.
and it's not about getting more students, truly, because for me, I just feel like it offers so much. It's not for everybody. We know this. Jiu-jitsu is not for everybody. But if it's for you, it definitely improves your life.
I have some predictions I like to do. I think women in jiu-jitsu will meet the 50% or more because they benefit way more out of jiu-jitsu than we do. How many times did you have to think about where you park your car?
I heard you mention this in another podcast, but I do disagree with that, and here's why. Would they benefit? Absolutely. But a lot of women are not saying they're not strong. They're not used to physical contact. Like even when they come and walk in the very first day to your academy, they may feel very, very uncomfortable going into someone's guard. So you have to put them with other women. And some of them, so the point being, a lot of women are not used to this physical bumping and they may be uncomfortable with it. I hope they could get past that and realize there's nothing sexual going on. And, a little bump is just a little bump. I want, like you, 50% of that.
I think it will happen.
I hope so.
It will. Hey, because we're making, like, we didn't even have a man training jiu-jitsu because we're breaking everybody. Now we're learning how to deal with different people, you know. And I think they're the ones that need jiu-jitsu more.
I think so. Do you think
I agree. I just opened like you say, intro, almost I don't call intro, but it's like fundamentals, almost only. Cause I feel that's a easy way to they get on the mat, and after that, like, I think you can jump
You're
on
ready.
these regular classes too when they jump on the
I think
regular
we
class.
need to educate them about jiu-jitsu and show that jiu-jitsu is not what they think jiu-jitsu is, because they always think jiu-jitsu is like a bunch of meathead people
agree.
fighting, trying to break each other, like a fight club.
but I do believe
Maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
No,
And I
20,
believe
20,
it's
20,
it's
yeah.
changing now. It's definitely changing now, and the public is becoming aware of that. So little by little, people are bringing in these women to try out the class. And now, to be fair, some women are ready right away to jump into the mixed class.
Yeah. I have a lot of students like
Yeah,
that.
like they're not really intimidated by going in someone's guard or having somebody in their guard, which it's very reasonable.
But let me
to
tell
be
some
scared.
is a lot of here in USA. In Brazil, the women don't have much that block. Like I think it's by the culture. You don't feel that. It's like my space. But into the men's, man, on the USA,
Yeah.
to cut that space sometimes is take time.
Yeah.
Like
It's
we in Brazil we touch more,
A
we
lot,
hold
yeah,
each
yeah.
other all the time.
noticed, man.
It's easy.
Do you know
I-
that's unfortunate in the United States? One time I was over my Leo Dollar's house, and his father was visiting, and they were laying down. And they were, where one was sitting up, one was laying down, and they were holding hands, and that was such a nice thing to see, because we don't really see too much adult men holding hands, in this society. Like everyone's too afraid. Oh, they're gonna think I'm a gay or something like that. So
yeah.
you're
But
right.
in-
Your culture is much
It's
more.
that it's more,
physical.
more physical, yeah. And I feel like we need to. I try go very slow, man. On the first classes, into for men's, very slowly, boom, and get closer. Like when I need to touch on a woman, like on a leg, whatever. I tell. Like, hey, I go grab your leg here, okay? And I grab the leg, put on the right place. You understand? So they understand.
Go ahead.
I think it's sorry to say that, but I think it comes from the school, from the culture inside each school.
But most of the, I think we can all
Yeah,
agree
yeah.
that most of the cultures
Most
are
of the
very
culture, that's correct. But but that comes
But you
from the
talk about
culture.
jiu-jitsu school.
About
or
women feel more comfortable, not feel like
but like the jiu-jitsu school.
the
yeah.
jiu-jitsu school, because you set the tone by the way you talk, by the way the place looks, by the way
Yes.
you interact, the way you dress yourself, like I think that shows.
But on the first class, everything is new now. Like
Yes, but you can pair them with somebody. Like one thing I do is like a little buddy system. When they come in, I'll find somebody who maybe they have something in common with. If it's a girl, I'll put them with another girl who's been there for a while, and say, "This is going to be your partner for today. They're going to walk you through the entire class. Here's your coach, but this is your partner. They're going to help you do each exercise, etc., etc."
yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
I like that.
and
One of the
they
things-
build their friendship like Josie, like she had just started training, a month ago.
Shout out for
Yeah.
Joe's. Yeah.
So and I see how they try to support each other by maybe like I have a student coming for the class that is more advanced earlier, and we have another fundamentals class where Josie is training. They stay for her.
Oh, very nice.
They were not going to stay, but like
We
I
have
wanna
a new.
support her. I
Yeah,
wanna
that's
say-
cool. That's cool.
Hey,
I
like
want to share something with you guys that I found has been very useful in my school. Whenever anybody comes into my jiu-jitsu school, whether they're an athlete or not, I tell them, a lot of schools are like, okay, we're going to get you in shape. Like, okay, more sit-ups, more push-ups, right? But I actually tell the students, like, for the first 2 or 3 months, it's very important for you to try not to do that, to go slowly, do half of everything that we are doing. Because I believe what ends up happening, we can agree that jiu-jitsu is so much fun and so addictive that a lot of students, they go 100%. And at the end, they do every class, they go hard every class. The end of 2 or 3 months,
They
they're-
quick.
they're broken. They're exhausted all the time, banged up. So their friend says, "Hey, let's go get a beer," or their girlfriend says, "Let's go, to a movie." Absolutely, I'm so tired. But if you go slow, if you tell your students, slow, take it easy, slow down, take a round off for the first 3 months, then when their girlfriend says, let's go to a movie, no, tonight's jiu-jitsu night, right? After 3 months, man, okay, you could turn up the pace, but I believe it's very important, like for the first, and I believe this is one of the reasons we retain a lot of our beginners, is because we take this approach. Like I said, a lot of schools are going to push their new students, like, come on, do another push-up, another sit-up. Not the first 3 months.
Go
I
slow
feel
in the
that too.
beginning.
I think you gotta build.
Split
build
the
them with time.
schedules help a lot.
Yeah.
Don't when they not allowed to go on the advanced class or whatever, we can control better that pushing.
That's right. Yep. No doubt.
No, that's.
I love, man. Hey, thanks so much to come here
Oh,
today.
you're welcome. Are we done?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
it's such a-
Like,
Hey, listen, I could sit and talk for another 2 hours.
we too, yeah.
Same. No.
Sam here
You know what?
So
When,
many,
when we sign off, I'm going to talk with these two people here tomorrow.
for
Okay?
like
No. Thank you so much for coming today, Professor, and sharing your part of the
Journey,
story.
man,
And
yeah.
look, and we still have more and more podcasts.
I'm
we
looking
can't
forward to watching them.
we can't be here 5 hours because we need to save some issue for this
For the
next
next
time
year.
and next time.
And then we go get a drink sometime.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't drink, but I get
We get some steak.
look,
Yeah, some steak,
Sparkling water.
sparkling water. He don't even. He sit on the table for
I-
hours talking
I hang
about
out
jiu-jitsu
the
and
same
life.
as
Time break.
anybody know that I don't really drink, but that's the.
Well, it's a pleasure. I'm curious, how do you decide who to have on the podcast?
So we research for the professors that would like to have on. All the professors, we reach out and we will people that we would like to talk to, like reach out and like people that we really would like to hear and
We have a
the
nice.
stories.
We're very, very fortunate to have such a big jiu-jitsu community in this area. Sometimes I will see a post that says, "Hey, I'm moving to Northern Virginia. Where should I train?" And the best answer I always see is, "Man, you have great schools everywhere." Listen, there's some more competitive schools. If you're a competitor, go to this school, this school, this school. But in general, some people say like find one close to your house if it's a good culture for you.
Correct.
And that's it. So we have a nice culture and a Big Brothers affiliation. So I would recommend, if possible, you get some of their these instructors. They are old school. They came up under the Leo Dalla.
It would be great. Yeah,
we
we'll
need to
definitely
bring
reach
it.
out and see.
I meet him. I forgot his name, man.
You know the name of the school?
The big brother, the
Koa, no?
the Koa.
That's
the-
Kelly Grissom.
Yeah, I met him like one time on a airport for in Las Vegas. We
Yeah.
have a
Koa's an
nice
excellent school.
conversation,
He's been
but
doing this-
that's the first time
Stafford,
I met
right?
him.
Stafford.
It's in Stafford, and he did judo prior to jiu-jitsu as well. But even older than him is a guy named at the lab called Chad LeBron. Isaac July is a very big competitor in this
Isaac, yeah.
area.
We brought his wife,
His girlfriend.
girlfriend,
Yeah.
Saida.
Saida, she
Yeah,
came on
yeah.
the show.
We definitely want to bring him on.
Dominion has a beautiful facility. That's Bill and Michelle. They're both black belts.
Awesome.
And at their facility, they host some really big jiu-jitsu. Claudia Deval came out there.
Seminars, yeah.
More recently,
And his wife was a competitor. I remember she's winning a
Michelle,
lot of Michelle, right?
Michelle,
She was winning
you know the guy with the Polish guy with the long hair. What's his name?
from where?
Poland.
Oh,
Adam
Adam.
Barzinski.
Adam.
The
He
but-
came-
butterfly.
Yes, he did
Or-
a very nice seminar recently.
He's really good.
They're
Man.
having the Muay Thai, I think, from the organization one. The champion is coming out to do a Muay Thai seminar.
That's awesome, man.
And tell them too about us, about PBJJF,
I will
the
tell
mission
them.
here. I think we're in the same mission as
Yeah, it's just to spread jiu-jitsu,
grow,
yeah.
spread jiu-jitsu. And our mission, our goal is bring the world to DMV. We have so many.
I think it's great to have this
competitors.
as a hub, man. Yes, I just so I don't get in trouble, I do have to say Christian at the Vanguard is Austin Black. He's a young guy and beats all of us old black belts up. And then Battlefield is Jason Doucette. So we have a nice big brother affiliation.
No, tell them about
And the
PBJJF.
I don't know if the
and,
Godfather would come on, Leo Dalla, but I would
Leo
love to have
Dalla.
Leo
It
Dalla
would be
come on.
great. We're gonna reach out to him and see
Man,
how
just traveling to Brazil with him and spending time, he's got a lot of stories. He knows,
the old school.
the old
this
school
school,
coming
man.
up, yeah.
Pioneer,
That-
man.
I
That'd be
remember
great.
like when I was in Brazil with him, we would go out to a bar and like Salo Ribeiro would come up, hey Leo Dal, and then like I remember driving down the road and Junior Carlson Gracie Jr. Carson, they stop his car,
Yeah,
hey
yeah.
Dal, and they would talk for half an hour.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
He's part of the history.
Yes. Anyway, I know you guys have to end your podcast.
No. But a question for you:
Yeah.
who would you like to see here on this table with us besides
Besides
Professor Love? Anybody.
Actually, I'm
Can't be Leo Dalla.
it can't be Leo Dalla.
Can't be. That will be your first.
So some of the I like the old school. I like to hear the history of jiu-jitsu, and some of the new guys like what they're doing. So it's my experience, and correct me if I'm wrong. The old school guys tend to teach the techniques they learned coming up, and some of the new ones. But then it's nice to see some of the new guys who are younger starting to evolve their technique too. So, man, just the higher level coaches and competitors. I do want to say this real quick. Competition's a very important part of jiu-jitsu, but I think there's probably a majority of people out there are doing jiu-jitsu, not competition. And
For sure, I agree.
and I don't know guys like Roy Dean's competition. I don't know if he competes or not, but he's definitely a martial artist. So I think we need to get them into here too to show the beauty of jiu-jitsu and to make sure that we recognize that competition's important, but the people who practice and don't compete love it just as much.
Exactly. And getting back to that, like PBJJF is not only to build the competition, it's to share and influence people to join jiu-jitsu. And people that like jiu-jitsu to come and see beautiful jiu-jitsu and safe jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
If you don't compete, man, you at least have outlet to go and watch jiu-jitsu tournaments, watch your friends. It's
Support,
really
yes.
for the whole community. For people that compete,
Yeah.
don't compete, coaches.
I think it's important to compete at least once at every belt. Don't get me wrong, but we just had this is such a cool story. We have a guy named Joe, white belt. I said to him, Joe, you're almost ready for your blue belt. Do you want to compete once before you get your blue belt? He said yes. Very shy, very quiet guy. You hardly get one word out of him. He trained hard for this competition, his first competition. I was worried because he's so shy and quiet. Man, I hope nothing bad happens. Man, he went out there with a game plan. First match was a submission. Second match he lost. He won his next two matches submission. He got a silver medal.
That's awesome.
That's nice, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He was terrified, man, but he went out there and killed it.
That's great. No, it's great to see those experiences.
And
right?
for sure,
The
that
great
competition give you so much confidence, man.
That's right, yeah.
It's great.
No, I think that's great. And like I said, we want to build safety. You want your students to be safe and get back on the mat. And getting quick back about the tournament. This in 2 years of PBJJF, the Pan Ams is the largest tournament ever done in the DMV area in 2 years, and from people that you know, from our area.
I will tell you, I
You
wish you
know.
guys nothing but luck because for a long time, I have to be careful what I say. The IBJJF has been the only
Repair,
reparable.
reputable.
No, but just the only big competition in town. And I think they did a great job of starting it, but now it's time for some other organizations to offer other ways of competing, other rule sets, and make sure that all of the competitors are happy. I don't know if Brazilians know this. I was sharing this earlier, but like sometimes Americans believe at an elite level, an American or in a Brazilian guy competing, and there's no point scored. If it's a Brazilian referee, always going to be the Brazilian who gets that.
No, I don't
That's
think that.
no. Listen, that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
belief.
yeah.
That's what the people believe. I don't know if it's true or not. We would have to look at the data. We'd have to look at the data. But that's I believe that's one of the feelings about IBJJF sometimes with the competitors. Like if it comes to a tie, no points.
Yeah,
We
I understand
can-
that.
We want to encourage more the new generation get ready to have it too. It's like
Educate.
educate. We
good,
we set this event take a lot of our time, to set up this event, but we start already or course. We go do like a halfway course,
Yeah.
and we wanna get these like anyone can do, but like we will start to let like purple belt, halfway coach,
Nobody
like
wants to be a halfway man.
Nobody
So
wanna, but like, hey,
it's the worst
nobody wanna,
job in
but
the world.
everybody wanna complain about the average.
No,
Worst
but
job,
sometimes
because-
people are not educated about rules.
that's true.
Even for like some school, like professors, right? Like I don't know the rules. Like this tournament, that tournament, this tournament, all different rules. I
have to
can't
read
get
them, yeah.
educated.
Yeah.
But like we want to educate all professors, all students, all schools on our rule set, and from there they can understand a little bit better, and even the referee calls are not gonna be misunderstood because they will know the rules. Like, oh, I understand his call. Because sometimes people don't understand the rules and they try to get on the ref, right? So
I've done that before
That's
on the
the
side of the
idea.
mat, and usually a good ref will come over and say to me like, "Well, here's my explanation." And sometimes, it's nice if they take time to talk to the coach.
and this is part of why I started PBJJF, because I wouldn't want to go to tournament and see my students lose because of ref not know what to do, right? Some other companies, what they do is they get a random white blue belt. Hey, you want a ref? Like we want well trained
Right.
refs on our team. Like we train our ref, and we want to educate more people to build them as a ref.
It's a good idea. It's hard to find a ref because
Yeah.
the problem with being a ref is everyone thinks you are trying to help the other side.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
But like when you know the rules, like the way we're teaching the course, you know that you're doing the work. It's like coaching a kid during the match. Like you're doing your work. Coaching on your side,
Yes.
and I bet you might have students that would be interested in being part of it. Sometimes they don't know. Like even coaches, sometimes you have students that might be interested in being a coach, but they never mention that. But once you open it, you tell, hey guys, look, if anybody wants to start being a coach, like
You
start
should-
helping the
I
kids,
think
and
it's a
people
good
start.
idea for you to put out when your trainings are for your referees. Advertise that. Yeah, probably.
We have a space here, as you see, right? Like
Yeah.
to bring the course, really
Absolutely,
bring the
yeah.
community together.
Absolutely.
And I think elevate the jiu-jitsu in there's so many great schools here,
There are
but
so
nobody
many good
talks
schools in
about
this area.
DMV. Like we want to bring the world to DMV. The people from Brazil will be like, I need to compete in the DMV area
I think that's
to
great,
be
man.
the best.
I'm,
And we need your support.
Yes.
We support each
you have
other,
my support,
like,
man. You have it.
like all the like
Centerville Brazilian Jiu-
Centerville Brazil. How can somebody train with you, professor? If they want to go and meet you and train with you, like how what?
They just look up Centerville BJJ and come in and have a class. Yep.
Awesome.
Just give a phone call. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give a
You guys
call,
are
do a trial.
on the social media too.
I'm on social media.
Social
yeah.
media, Instagram, same name.
That's right. I have Instagram, Center for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Center
yeah.
of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And we have,
It's
I
not-
think
it's
we
not
have a
very
post.
original name.
We have a post where I think we collab and people can go and see as
On
well.
Instagram, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where you got that picture either. That's an ugly picture.
Yeah.
But even the best picture I have is probably going to be ugly anyway.
You know, talk to Carlos. He's the social media guy.
Carlos, we're going to have a rule right now.
But thank you so much for Professor for being here today.
It's a pleasure.
Such a pleasure to meet you
It's very
in
nice.
person.
Actually, it's very cool to meet you too
Yeah,
as well.
no, our pleasure. And I hope this is only the first of many times you
I
can
would like to come back out. Yeah.
He need to collect the mugs.
collect
that's
the
right.
mug.
Yeah,
And
maybe
look,
I'll come out with my instructor, Leo Dow.
and we're here to support your school back.
Thank you,
And,
and-
you know, we appreciate the back and forth. That's how we grow jiu-jitsu. We need each
I
other.
hope you can continue this because I feel like you guys are doing a great job.
We will
Thank
not
you
gonna
so
stop,
much.
man.
We'll keep doing it.
We'll
Thank you guys
shout
so
out
much.
for our sponsors. Sign up on the tournament. Today is the last day.
Last day.
Midnight or 10 p.m. We close.
10:59 is the last. If we don't close early because we're night. Last time they give me feedback was 95% capacity. So
If they
you-
get past
you
it,
might
get
close,
early,
earlier.
may close early.
Do we have an official way to end? Like, do we shake a shaka or we say
Like,
odds?
Oh,